Hi, Joe Battaglia from FloTrack. I'm here with Merhawi Keflezighi of Hawi Management. Hawi, thanks for joining us. Can you talk a little bit about how you got your management group started back in 2005?
Yeah, when I started the agency in 2005, I was a second year in law school, and I thought being in law school would help me distinguish myself from everybody else in LA that wants to go into sports and entertainment. So that was my goal, but when Meb won the silver medal, and he wanted a US-based agent, I started reviewing his contracts, and I just had a moment where I said, you know what, Meb, I think at this time, with the courses I'm taking, the experience I have, and with all of your achievements, I think I can represent you. And after 2 months of talking about it, weighing the pros and cons, Meb hired me as his agent in 2005.
Is it a difficult thing, when you're representing a family member like you do, to separate Merhawi the brother from Merhawi the manager? I would imagine there's got to be some times where that's a difficult separation.
Yeah, definitely you have to distinguish, but it's really just happens casually. Before I was his agent, I thought I was his assistant, right? So I was always kind of, he was bouncing ideas off of me, I was sharing ideas. We had a really great communication, so we had a brotherhood that also included a little business, even though I wasn't an official representative. And so that was just a smooth transition. When you have a good relationship, you don't really have to turn it on or off. You just know when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. Can
you talk about how Hawi Management has sort of branched out from just being a very small hyper focused management group? I think one of the maybe the misgivings about your management group is they think it's just Meb. Right. They hear, oh, Merhawi Keflezighi, Meb Keflezighi, that's it. But it's more than that, obviously. Yeah. Can you talk about how that has sort of evolved and blossomed to where you are today?
Yep, absolutely. So even before 2014 was a big breakthrough for Hawi Management. But before that, I did represent John Rankin, Peter Gilmore, and Stephen Shea, Paige Higgins, But it wasn't a big group, and it was just something I really enjoyed doing, and it gave me access to different levels of the sport, from an Olympic medalist all the way to people that were chasing the dream of trying to qualify for the Olympics. So that was a good experience, but it was just a handful of athletes. In 2014, I started getting to know Leo, and he was going through a transition, and we signed him to a deal with Hoka as one of their first big ambassadors. After that, many more athletes started calling our agency, and including Brenda Martinez, Boris Berrien, Joe Kovacs, Olympic silver medalist in the shot put.
Speaking of challenges, as a representative of Boris Berrien, you obviously had a hell of a challenge last year. Can you talk about what that was like? Because I would imagine that had to be a different experience for you as well as a manager, and how did you work through that?
Yeah, so it was definitely a big challenge last spring. His coach and his team at the Big Bear Track Club were so supportive while he was going through this, and just keeping him focused, keeping him positive. And also on my end, I wasn't any longer a one-man operation. So I had two people on my team that were helping me get the day-to-day taken care of, with all of our other clients, so I could really focus a lot of my energy on Boris. So really, I realized the power of teamwork, and also I got to give a lot of credit to Boris, because I said, he just stayed focused, which is really hard when you have that type of challenge ahead of you.
And where do you see the future of Hawi Management? Maybe 2 years, 5 years from now, where do you see things going?
We definitely have the team to represent more athletes, but we want to have more quality athletes. It's not about how many athletes we have. We want quality athletes that have a chance to make the Olympic team, and hopefully, not everybody that makes the Olympic team has a chance to medal, but we want to have a good mix of Olympians and Olympic medalists. We're on FloTrack right now. Sometimes I look for FloTrack interviews, right? Because the personality and the character of an athlete is really what distinguishes, for me, the type of athlete I want to work with. So somebody could win a race, that's great, but when I see an interview of somebody that's positive, classy, that gets me even more excited than somebody winning a race. So that's the type of athletes that we're looking for, and luckily we have a lot of those on the roster, and they kind of attract like-minded people to the agency also.
All right, Hawi, well, thanks for joining us here today, and best of luck with the future. Say hi to Meb.
Will do.
And we'll see you out there.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Good seeing you.
Yep.